Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Up Your Alley. It's a podcast with two best friends. That's me. My name is Taylor Edgar, and with me, as always, is my best friend, Jake Baggett.
Hi, buddy.
How is you doing today?
I'm good. I'm looking over at
You
your table.
distracted me right in the middle of the fucking intro. What's going on?
You have a Mike Birbiglia's CD
I
just
do.
out.
Yeah. I forgot to tidy up a little bit before you came over here.
Were you listening to Mike Birbiglia?
No, I was looking for a cable, and that CD was in that drawer for God knows how long.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been a while since I cleaned out the old drawer. As you can kind of see, I've just been shoving more things into it and looking for the cable that I needed. Got to that.
Birbiglia doesn't even have a case.
Yeah, I know. It was back in the day, man. You had
Yeah,
the one
that's
like
true.
CD booklet and all the
that's
jewel
true.
cases just went right away to go kill a turtle somewhere in the ocean.
I absolutely understand.
So this is a podcast with us, the two best friends.
Yeah.
And we recommend things to each other. Then we come back the next week to rate them on how much they are up our individual alleys. Right now, I am winning slightly by 1 point, 55 points to Jacob's 54. Today, we are going to be talking, or today for whenever you decide to listen to this.
Yes.
We will be talking about Jake's recommendation for me, which is the film The Shape of Water by director and writer Guillermo del Toro. Also, we'll be talking about my recommendation for Jake, which is the Freevee / Amazon series Jury Duty, which came out just a couple months ago. But before we get into that, Jake's going to tell me something about what's been happening with Reddit for the past week, because I know there was something going on where people are like, oh, certain things in Reddit are going to be blacked out.
Yes.
I know nothing about it. Jake, you're the tech guy of the podcast.
They're going private so that nobody can just look at it without being a part of the group.
Wait, a part of the individual subreddit?
Yes, like our movies. If you're not like subscribed to it, you're not going to be able to take a look into it and see what's inside of it. It's going private. Oh, actually, it's just like, no, you can't do anything. It's private now.
Really?
Nobody can go into it. Yeah, other than mods. And what they're
So
doing.
the mods have shut down the subreddits to
Yes.
protest Reddit doing what?
They are increasing the price of what's called an API.
Okay, what's that?
I don't remember what the letters stand for.
Okay.
But essentially what it does is allow you to make an app around Reddit.
Yeah.
So like I use Reddit is Fun as my app instead of like the official Reddit app.
So it's basically just starting like third-party apps if you're not
Yes.
using Reddit.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there were, because I use the Reddit app, and then all I see is people complaining about the Reddit app, and I'm just like, well, it's what we got.
I've used Reddit is Fun for a long time, and I really do enjoy that one. And yeah, even the app itself is like, if something doesn't change by June 30th, we're going to be shut down because the API costs are going up substantially, so they can't afford it.
It's basically Reddit trying to force people to their app.
Yes.
So I'm assuming the third-party apps don't have as much advertisements and things like that?
Well, yeah, they're not getting that revenue that's that goes to a third-party app, because the third-party app runs ads, and those ads go to the creators of that app.
Oh.
Yeah. Instead of making a better app, they're like...
So that would be like rebroadcasting a show and putting your own commercials on it?
Something like that. Yeah, that sounds like a fine. If I just ran my own channel.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're just showing things of friends that you taped and running your own commercials for whatever you want.
And I just have... Yeah, and then people are like, hey, I see a lot of people are using Reddit as Fun instead of Reddit, and I want to advertise on there, and then...
So
Reddit
it's cutting into their
loses
third-party
revenue.
apps are cutting into their bottom line.
Yes.
Huh.
That's probably why, but it's also like a lot of tech companies are speculative markets,
There's no way some of these companies can be worth what they're worth.
They just
I don't understand finances a lot,
There's
but
a new AI company that just came out, and they haven't even made a product yet, and then they were evaluated for like 150 million euros. And it's just like right out the gate, and all I had to do was say we're going to make some AI.
wow.
And somebody was like, "That sounds like $150 million."
It's a great time for us to announce that we're making an AI. It's in the bottom of that drawer underneath the Mike Birbiglia CDs.
So I think they're realizing now that they got to make money somehow, and
That kind of
they're kind of fucked. So they're just like, "Oh, okay."
So the subreddit mods are shutting it down, basically like, hey, Reddit, if you cut people off, we're just not going to post content, and then you've got nothing to sell ads on.
Yeah, because the mods are like, your whole website runs off of our work.
Free labor.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're free labor. And people we rely on APIs to look at Reddit as well.
Yeah.
And you want to get rid of that, and that's not going to work for us.
Huh.
So they're just like, we're blacking out. Everybody's blacking out.
That's interesting.
Yeah. They said they would do it for 2 days. I hope they do it for longer because...
So it's kind of like a strike. It's kind of like a writer's strike where
Basically.
it's like, hey, except they're not asking for money. They're just asking for Reddit to not make as much money.
Yeah. You remember when Sopa Pipa was a thing?
No.
Oh, so like they were going to like...
Oh, those acts that everyone was saying were, going to censor the internet.
Yes.
Okay, I thought Sopa Pipa was a website like
it's a
or an app or
delicious
something.
Mexican snack. That's for sure. But yeah, it's the same thing. When that happened, they blacked out. Like a lot of different websites blacked out, and they just said like, no, like we're not going to comply unless
There's a pretty
somebody does
rad
something.
protest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. So
Just
hopefully,
laziness as an act of aggression is right up my alley
that's
for sure.
the thing that people are starting to realize is free labor is a thing that a lot of internet sites run on. It's one guy in Nebraska
Creating content.
that just comes home from working a 9 to 5, and he's like, I got to make sure that this subreddit full of 5 million people is moderated correctly.
Did you ever do any of that, like moderation of subreddits or any kind of weird like online forum?
No. I used to be a part of forums, but just as a member, just being an idiot and saying stupid stuff.
I don't post to Reddit much, and everything that I do is just like mostly comments. But
Yeah.
anytime I click on something and I'm like, oh, I have a funny thing, I click and 3 people have already written it, and I'm just like, I'm not super duper original.
Yeah, Reddit is not a really big place that I like to go.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you hate Reddit?
I don't hate it. It's just, it's not my sense of humor that they have, and it's not my type of conversation that I want.
There's some
Like-
good subreddits out there, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I used to be a part of Trees.
Just our trees?
Yes, back in the day when I used to smoke like all the time.
Those kind of trees.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And our Trees was like the place to go for, weed discussion and just funny little comics and pictures that you can post.
Yeah.
And like it was fun to be a part of that.
There's
We used to have movie nights like once a week, and we would watch movies streaming. It was a lot of fun.
There's
But then they went like, we don't want to do any jokes anymore on our Trees. We're going to be strictly marijuana conversations.
legalization and shit like
Yeah,
that.
and we were like, no.
we were here for jokes and giggles.
Yeah, I like giggles and gaffs and guffaws.
There's a couple great new ones that I've been suggested to just based on how often I'm Googling things about Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
That are like subreddits of Zelda fandom. Mm-hmm. And there's one that's just our Link dies, and it's just clips of all the stupid shit that have happened to kill people in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the
That
Kingdom.
sounds great.
And my new favorite one is our Hyrule Engineering, where it's just all the machines and shit people are... It boggles my mind.
It's amazing.
Someone was telling me, because like I love all that engineering stuff and people that do in sandbox games, not so much Breath of the Wild, but especially Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
It's like its own weird version of like Minecraft where you can't build the same shit, but you're still building with blocks, but the blocks fit together in a different way. It's like Lego
it's a different
and
type of engineering. You have the actual tools now.
right,
Yeah.
as opposed to Minecraft where it's just
It's like ground up type shit.
yeah. And I love it, and just the creativity some people have in that. And I always go down YouTube rabbit holes of whenever I click on like the Tears of the Kingdom stuff, then it'll show it's like this guy, built Pac-Man in Minecraft, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How did they do that? And it shows the way they did it in this massive, like Minecraft stuff. Fascinating to me. It's way beyond my comprehension or attention span.
Yeah.
But the people that do it, God bless them. Like some of the stuff is fantastic.
Somebody made a basic calculator in Zelda, and I
In Tears of the Kingdom?
Yeah, and I do not understand how you can do that.
Jesus Christ.
But they're like, yep, here's a working basic calculator.
And I love the fervor that some people have where they're doing like side-by-side screen tests of like, okay, this increases speed. And some of these guys have to have engineering degrees or something. Because it's like, oh, the rotational physics is stackable, so if you do this, this, and that, you can generate this much force. And I guess Nintendo's great about the physics of it. And they're just like, hey, these are the rules, just fucking do whatever you want, which is amazing.
Yeah.
The way that this game, for a primary Nintendo property, this is like, they didn't intend to make a Super Mario Maker of Zelda machines, but they did.
I don't know, because I think that they realize now that exploration like that is creativity like that, like building now.
Yeah, but they patched out the duplication glitch.
I know, that was upsetting.
I know.
I didn't get to use that.
Mine. I lost mine. I had it going for about 3 days.
Yeah.
And then, of course...
You took a break, and then it was like, we downloaded it for you.
Yep. And they snuck up on me, and they're like, you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I was bummed about that.
I didn't know until I downloaded it, until I looked it up. I was like, what did this patch do?
And it says everything fun.
It got rid of some fun stuff.
Yeah. The thing that would have made the game really fun to play. Like, it's not that anymore.
Can you believe that cheats isn't a thing for games anymore?
I used to love finding cheats.
I mean,
that's what IGN was. When I remember first finding out about IGN, there was IGN.com, and then there was cheatcc.com.
Yes.
When I had dial-up internet,
Cheat code central.
You'd pay for 180 minutes a month of AOL, and I probably used 76 of those minutes looking up cheat codes and everything like that, handwriting them and everything.
And now they're behind a paywall. Now they're
it's
DLC
ridiculous.
or something.
Yeah.
They're like, here's a sword that will just break the game for you for $2.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to fuck around.
Yeah.
It's a game.
I mean, some games still have that kind of fun. But I mean, the Grand Theft Auto games, of course, they always have the cheat codes and everything like that, and they, because they don't take themselves too seriously. But it's just not; they're not going to put a DK mode in Ghost of Tsushima 2 or
go right ahead.
Yeah, like do it.
Yeah,
paintball mode, all the stuff that they had for just making the game silly was fantastic.
Yeah,
and some of them, make the game a little more challenging. Like some of them have like the hardcore mode used to be a cheat, and now it's just like the highest difficulty, which is impossible on
Rockets only.
Rockets only, slappers only.
Yeah.
Well, no, the slappers only was a regular thing.
Rockets only. You could turn on that for Perfect Dark, and everybody had a rocket launcher, and you had to go through that.
Back in the day.
It was so much fun.
Things are fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, Reddit.
Anyway, Reddit.
Thanks, the internet. Thanks for explaining to me. I had no idea what it was.
Yeah, what up?
Let's get into what we're going to be talking about this week.
Yeah.
We'll talk about my recommendation for Jake first.
Sure.
I recommended for you a 2023 TV series. It says it's a Freevee series. I watched it on Amazon. I don't know what Freevee is.
I don't know what Freevee is.
But Amazon just popped up and
I know
you
Amazon
want Freevee?
has like add-ons that you can put onto it.
And I think it's like if you have Amazon Prime, then Freevee doesn't have commercials, or you could just get the Freevee app and it does have commercials. If you don't, something
like that. Yeah, I don't know.
I watch it through Amazon and it works fine. So most people, if you want to watch this show, and I think people should watch this show, just go on Amazon Prime and watch it there, or download Freevee. Try that. I don't know if it's
let us know how Freevee works out.
Just based on the production quality and the actual quality of this show, Freevee's not like one of those, scam streaming services.
What was it called? Quibi?
Yeah, there was Quibi.
I remember Quibi.
Yeah, where you could watch it vertically on your phone for some reason. I didn't watch a single one of those.
There's no way. There was one with a girl with a golden arm, and it was making her sick.
Yeah.
And they were like, we have to get rid of this golden arm. It's killing you. And she's like, no, that's not going to happen.
Is that all you watched?
No. I watched a review of that. And they're like, here's a crazy thing that's going on in Quibi.
That was Miss Maisel. That was the girl with the golden arm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Marvelous Miss Maisel. Good show. Wrapped up the last month.
Holy.
Anyway, Jury Duty.
Yeah.
So this is a show I recommended for you because it's my style of humor, and I think this is a type of show that has been done before, and it's a concept that's been done before.
Yeah.
But this show, to me, is a unicorn. This basic gist of the show, it's set in a jury trial, a civil trial. A former employer is suing their former employee for damages, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. And it's set up under the auspice of camera crew is filming the jury to show like an inside look of the American legal system.
Yeah.
But everyone, judge, bailiff, jurors, except for one dude, Ronald Gladden, are all actors, including famously actual actor James Marsden playing James Marsden.
Yeah.
And
incredible.
One guy, Ronald, is the only one not in on the joke. Mm. And it's just hilarious. The situations they put him into under the ruse.
Yeah.
The way this one guy responds to it, and that's why I'm saying it's such a unicorn of a show. And they talk. Did you watch all of them?
I watched all of them. Yeah.
So at the end of the show, when they spring that this is all a big joke, even the producers are just in shock at how this one wonderful man responds to everything in the best way possible.
They got so lucky getting Ronald to be a part of the show.
1 in a billion shot.
Yeah.
This super nice, incredibly charismatic, likable guy does this.
I knew I was in love with him already when he was talking to James Marsden.
Yeah.
And then like he was just like trying to guess the movies that he knew him in, like X-Men and stuff. He's like, everybody says X-Men. And he sees him the next day and he's like, I got it. He's like, you're part of my favorite movie, bro. He's like, Sex Drive.
Which you could see.
That is so funny.
Before we get to specifics, so you liked it.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Ronald sells it. Ronald is the reason.
Exactly.
If this is I'm cynical about these things. I always think that they're fake.
Right.
But even if it is fake, Ronald is a really cool guy.
If this is what
as a character, he's a cool guy. As a real person, he is a very cool guy.
If this was a term that you've brought into my life over the course of this podcast, all kayfabe, and it was just, completely all put on, and then it was a show behind the show and then fake, layers, turtles all the way down nonsense.
Yes.
This guy's the best actor in the world.
That's very true.
If he's real person,
because
he's such a great dude.
There's such good moments where you can tell that he has no idea. Mm-hmm. There's wildly crazy things that happen.
Insanity. There's so many points in this show where it should not have worked. Mm-hmm. And from the get-go, having James Marsden there is hilarious. One of the other jurors is Kirk Fox, who's a guy that I recognize.
As soon as I saw Kirk Fox there, I was like, that guy, I kept looking at him. I was like, I know that guy clowned Mount Everest. He was in Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
He was in Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
And he's a stand-up comic. I saw him open.
He's hilarious.
I saw him open for Tom Segura.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I was just like, hey,
Kirk Fox. He's a funny ass dude.
He's hilarious.
So it was so cool to see him there. And so sad that nobody noticed.
So he was.
Ronald didn't recognize
he was on the juror. It must have stung a little bit.
That's the sting a little bit.
Yeah.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Come on.
So having an actual comedian there, and then I think the judge was a retired lawyer. One of the other lawyers both lawyers, fake lawyers, were actual lawyers.
Yes.
And then they moved into acting because I guess that's.
Dude, there was a guy that was working at UC Berkeley. And he said that he got the call to be in the show. And he's like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm done being a professor for right now. I'll do this for a couple weeks.
So
this is a town of actors. You have no problem grabbing anybody.
Yeah. And I think they kind of banked on that and just putting out the whole feel
and that's
for
how
the
you
jury.
got, wild people.
I think one of the reasons I recommended this to you is I do love a hidden camera thing. And I love a prank show as long as it's not,
we're going to slap this dude in the dick. Unless it's Jackass.
I don't think people know what pranks are anymore.
Yeah.
There's so many things on that pop up on like the YouTube shorts or anything like that where it's like epic prank. And I'm like, that's not a prank. That was just assault.
Yeah. That's just assault. But those are fake. Those are all fake. Every YouTube But
prank. It shouldn't be called a prank though.
No,
it's like, here's a prank. I'm going to just like use a knife and like open up this bag of flour in Walmart. Epic prank. It's like, no. Yeah. Someone has to clean that up.
Yeah,
now.
That's the funniest thing. Yeah,
that's not a prank.
But this prank is just having this guy witness some very silly things. And
for 3 weeks. That's the other thing. It wasn't just an afternoon. They get what's it called? Sequestered.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And James Marsden is like battling with trying to get a role in a movie. Mm-hmm. Sells it amazingly.
Yeah,
I think I don't know if
Hidden Pines.
I don't know if this could be. These people could be nominated for Emmys, but I think James Marsden deserves an Emmy.
James Marsden making fun of himself, and then watching the interview afterwards, and he's still acting like a normal actor would, with just those canned responses and stuff, being like, we just thought it was going to be a crazy experience. And I'm like, God damn it, James Marsden, you are a fantastic actor, sir.
Yeah.
He could embellish himself, but he's definitely like an actor's actor type guy.
So one of my favorite things to do is put myself into any situation because just kind of the guy I am. Mm-hmm. How long do you think you would have lasted in a fake jury trial?
Before I knew it was
Before
fake?
You're just like, because he even said at one point, he's like, this is like a reality show.
Yeah, he says it a couple times.
Crazy things are happening.
A reality show.
But I guess if you have cameras on you, maybe you're like, oh, well, yeah, this is real.
It's really hard to put myself in those shoes because, like, right now, I would say, like, immediately, as soon as James Marsden sat right next to me, I would know because there's cameras here and James Marsden, and it's supposed to be just jury duty. But also, it's the cybernetics dude.
Yeah.
Who's got camelback of water, so he doesn't have to use the water fountain, but he also has one for food that he emulsifies and drinks.
So there's the guy that's obsessed with cybernetics and enhancing the human body.
Yeah.
There's a guy who's clearly a virgin whose girlfriend is cheating on him.
Yeah.
While he's sequestered for jury duty, and another juror who she is obsessed with trying to get this guy in the sack.
Yeah, corrupting him, as she says.
Exactly. There's an old lady who keeps falling asleep.
That was great.
There's one guy who's been lying about his wife and him being together the whole time.
You have Ken, who talks really, really slowly.
And not to mention the trial itself is absurd.
Yeah, they keep bringing up, so like the guy that's being sued apparently came to work drunk and high and like fell over and like ruined thousands of dollars worth of shirts and then soiled himself as well.
Right. And they're really hung up on whether it was just peed himself or if he evacuated his bowels as well.
That stuff's good. And I like the behind the scenes because they had like those 3D recreations of what happened.
Yeah.
And the behind the scenes, the actors said like, we didn't know, like they didn't show us beforehand that these crazy videos we're gonna see, and you watch their reactions and they're fucking losing it. Well, Ken stared at it, he's like, "Why are they doing a like special dance or something?"
So this guy Ronald Gladden, like I said, if it wasn't for him, I don't know how they would make this show. And at the end, they gave him $100,000.
Yeah, but that dude went with the flow. That guy had somebody walk by him and go, "I'm going to go to the bathroom, rub one out." And he just says, "Yeah, better do it while you still can."
Exactly.
Just without even thinking.
It's absurd.
It's so great.
Shows like this are so rare, which is, I don't understand. Well, this will come up when my recommendation for you for this coming week. Things like this that are just so rare and they're on Freevee.
Yeah. Because there's just nobody's going to take a shot on this, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because this thing is incredibly
it's great.
Genius.
It's great.
And you can tell, I like the behind the scenes stuff because they're like, I really want you to see how much stuff went into this.
Right.
Because
so that's the last one of the last episode.
Because they don't want to like piss him off, you
right.
know. Because like James Marsden at some point comes to a birthday party that he thinks it's for him for getting the role.
Yeah.
But he didn't get the role.
He flips the cake.
He flips the cake, and that pisses Ronald off to the point where he's like, even if he comes back here, I don't want him at this party. And they're like, all right, so what we need to do is get James to buy a cake and bring it back so that he's not mad at James anymore.
And at some point, the producer taking notes. They're trying to figure out facts in the trial because Ronald is asking questions that they haven't written the answers to because he's playing detective.
Well, I knew I really enjoyed that dude because he was running lines with James Marsden in his room, and then the Virgin comes up being like, "Hey, I just kind of need some advice from you." Yeah. And he goes, "All right, it looks like I got a boys' party up in this room." And he's like, "This dude is just
guy in the world."
Yeah, he's just like so happy and just easy going type dude.
The least believable part in this is that that guy would be such a nice guy. Like,
yeah, it's unbelievable.
It's heartening to know that there are just people out there that are just that would put up with all this shit.
The behind the scenes where they had the cybernetics dude be in the room right next to him.
Yeah,
and like him being like, we share doors together and we can just open them up. And he sent him a note being like, I'll knock 3 times to say, are you up? Knock 2 times to say that I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
And like behind the scenes, they were saying like, we're just trying to freak him out a little bit with the cybernetics guy. But he sends a note right back to him. He's like, yeah, man, whatever you want. Just let me know if you need anything.
And knocked 2 times and went to bed. Sweetest guy in the world.
So awesome.
And he got $100,000 at the
Good
end
for
of it.
him, though.
Earned every penny.
Yes, absolutely.
The one part that was really funny. So after the judge springs on him that everything's been fake this whole time, one of the jurors, Lonnie, who's been like kind of his friend, like they went on like upstairs in the factory when they were taking a jury tour of that, which I don't know if
I don't think that's a thing.
I don't think that's a thing.
But
I'm pretty sure it's not in the Commonwealth and nothing that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I don't know what California's fucking doing.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's like, oh, everything's fake. And he looks Lonnie. He's like, even you? Like, he's like, oh, I thought you were my best friend about this.
You're not a real cop, he says to the bailiff.
Right before the end, the Virgin guy and the girl that's trying to corrupt him, they convince James Marsden to jump on the bed while they're soaking.
Yes.
Which
That's
is
so funny.
If you don't know what soaking is, just Google it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Soaking is very crazy.
It's an insane thing. And
but
this
to
guy
think that James Marsden would agree
to bounce on the
to
bed
do this
for it. And then he's just like, yeah, that's probably a thing that's going to happen.
Yeah. And then in the behind the scenes, he was like, yeah, you're so lucky that story was fake because I was going to tell everybody. I was going to tell everybody.
Exactly how a normal person would react.
Yes.
Like, you're never going to believe. You can't wait for James Marsden to come up in a conversation. So
but he was entirely captivating the whole time.
Yeah.
Just how much he would he was on the phone with the Virgin's girlfriend on the thing.
Which was that guy's actual girlfriend.
Yes, and she said that she's breaking up with him. And he's like, you just tell him that we're breaking up. And he hangs up the phone, and he's like, what'd she say? And he's like, she's pissed, dude. He's like, what? But what did she say? He's like, you're going to have to call her. You're going to have to talk to her.
This is, like, I think more people should watch this show because I think it shows, especially the last episode where they do, behind the curtain thing. It shows how much work went into this, and everyone involved in the show, I think, is a genius. And I will say this right now: if it all comes out 3 years from now, it's like, oh, this was all fake, from front to back.
Yeah.
Good
entertainment.
Good,
regardless.
Yeah, if you had told me this was all fake and it was just
the best
show,
thing,
about a guy who's, he has
fish out of water.
He has a lot of Jim from The Office energy.
Yeah,
like a lot of early seasons Jim Halpert, just nice, good-looking, tall guy, just being as helpful as he can, kind of playing into it, kind of being a little bit of a jokester, but he's a real person. And if you had just told me it was that show set about a trial, I'd watch it if it wasn't. If it was a scripted show.
If it was just a scripted show, that's what
I'd
think
watch it.
What made it so wonderful is like there's plot points going on without Ronald the whole time. It was just characters that you actually find very funny or very endearing,
right?
And they're having their own things going on without Ronald involved at all.
The camera work in it's great because they'll show, they do the talking heads where the people are talking directly to the camera, and that person will be given their talking head because they have to, maintain the illusion that this is all being filmed for a documentary, and you'll just see Ronald like walking in the background, like getting something out of the vending machine or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's a masterwork in how to do a fake thing, I guess. I don't think there's...
This is one of the best hidden camera things that I've seen.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of the Impractical Jokers, and there are parts of that where like this, it's like, except if it would be the opposite of the Impractical Jokers, instead of one person acting silly and filming the public's reaction, it's the public acting in a weird, silly, crazy way, and you're filming one specific guy's reaction.
Yeah.
It's worth it. I think everyone should watch it.
We can't sell enough how much of a sweetheart Ronald is.
So you're giving it a 2.
Absolutely a 2, because Ronald, he kind of pusses out at the end.
No.
It's a 3. It was fantastic.
See?
It was so much fun to watch.
I thought you would like this.
It was so funny.
Yeah, and just because I think this is something you probably would never have watched this if I hadn't told you.
The internet was ablaze about it for about 2 days.
Yeah.
And then... like after that, I forgot about it.
I mean, it's 8 episodes. They're 22-minute episodes. You can breeze through this, in a weekend,
and it's absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
It's so funny, and you're gonna be like, this dude deserves $100,000.
He does. Yeah, and also if you've listened to this and you haven't watched it, you can still watch it. There are many things that we're not bringing up. We haven't even talked about going to Margaritaville.
Haven't even talked about we haven't talked about Jorf. Biff Whiff. Fucking Santa Claus from I Think You Should Leave is in this thing.
It is him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Watch it.
Absolutely great.
Watch Jury Duty. It's on Amazon or whatever the fuck Freevee is. So let's talk about Jake's recommendation for me next.
Hell yeah.
Which is the 2017 American film, Best Picture. Academy Award winner.
Yes, sir.
The Shape of Water.
Truly deserve it.
Directed by Guillermo del Toro and screenplay by Guillermo del Toro and Vanessa Taylor. Jake, you want to talk us through this? Why you recommend it for me? I know you said it was a little bit because I recommended last week 3,000 Years of Solitude, and you're picking up on
3,000 Years of Longing.
Longing, yeah.
Yes. And I was picking up on the same type of vibes about just a woman falling in love with a metaphysical being.
Yeah,
but I find this one far more captivating, and like this one is far more like standard Hollywood driven. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you got Guillermo del Toro pushing it through.
Yeah, there's stakes that are risen and things like that. It's paced like a normal movie, where 3,000 Years of Longing was definitely more of a talking bit, which is stuff that I enjoy a lot. So I was very happy with 3,000. I would think this would be more your speed when it comes to something like this.
So the main setup for it, if you haven't seen it, it's starring Sally Hawkins, Michael Shannon, Doug Jones, and Richard Jenkins are the main people.
Yeah.
Sally Hawkins. It's set in I want to say it was 62 that they said it was. Yeah, 1962 in Baltimore, height of the Cold War. It's in a government facility. Sally Hawkins and Octavia Spencer work
Love Octavia
as.
Spencer.
Oh, she's fantastic.
Oh my god!
And they're working as maids, cleaning ladies in a government facility.
Yeah.
Sally Hawkins is mute from a childhood injury, so she's really our way into this because she's not speaking and people are explaining things to her. Yada yada. She's the audience's way in.
Yeah.
And at this facility, there's a amphibious fishman creature from the Black Lagoon looking guy.
Hell yeah.
Who she starts a relationship with.
Yeah.
And Michael Shannon's the grizzled, military
guy that's back to get it back.
It's the 60s. He's smoking and stuff.
Yeah. Calls them dames.
Yes, he's very cliche. 1960s government guy. And so, yeah.
Yeah. That's the movie. I would like to think.
And so she starts a relationship with, never really given a name, the creature.
Yeah,
the
just
asset,
a creature. Yeah.
They call him. And
he can't speak either.
Nope. She teaches him some sign language. Can I tell you something?
Huh.
That's a trope I'm sick of.
What's that?
It's not that easy to learn sign language.
Yeah, but...
I've tried to learn sign language. In every fucking movie, there's an alien or a gorilla or a caveman or something, and they pick up sign language in no time flat. I'm an adult human, and I've tried to pick up sign language, and I know a little bit.
Yeah, you can't have a conversation, but you know how to say thank you.
That's it.
Yeah,
he's having conversations with the fishman.
Oh yeah,
they're consenting to do adult activities, which is a weird thing that happens.
Yeah.
She has sex with the fishman.
Yeah, she does.
Her and Octavia Spencer talk about it.
Yes, well, I guess that's my favorite part. Is
really
Octavia Spencer?
He's a frogman.
Amphibious? Yeah, I suppose a frogman.
He's a creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah,
which is really what it looks like.
I like that. There's a part where Octavia Spencer is like, so how do you have sex with him? And then she pantomimes.
Yeah,
that
there's a sign for that, apparently.
He has a carapace that opens up at the crotch level to allow his phallus out.
Jesus Christ.
That is so funny. But I think I love their relationship, honestly.
Yeah.
And I like how much her friends care about her and her relationship.
Yeah.
And I think Michael Shannon is doing a performance that's high tier, one of his best performances I've ever seen him do.
I will say this, on my notes I have Michael Shannon's the best part of this movie.
Absolutely.
For me.
Mostly the plot moves forward because of him a lot, and he is a fucking psychopath.
Yeah. He's great at playing that guy too.
Yes.
I know the only real DC movie that you've seen is Man of Steel. And
yes.
He's in Flash. He's back playing Zod in the new Flash movie.
I don't.
Come
you're
see
not
the new Flash movie.
I'm not going to see the new Flash movie.
It's got Michael Shannon in it.
It's got nothing for me.
It's got Ben Affleck in it.
I know it's got Ben Affleck. I know it's got Michael Keaton in it. It's got nothing for me.
All right.
They're going to show up. They're going to wave to the camera and say, hey, I'm Batman. And then they're going to leave.
But then someone else will say they're Batman too.
And then the Flash is going to say stuff like, oh boy, I got to run really fast on this one, guys. And then he's going to run really fast. And then you're going to be like, oh, I don't think he's going to run fast enough for this one. And then he does.
Yeah.
And then everybody's going to shit their pants and give it the Academy Award again for like audience moment.
I feel like you've already seen this movie. You seem like you're nailing it. So back to this movie.
Yeah.
So it won for Best Picture. It beat out that year a couple movies that I like. It beat Call Me By Your Name, which I haven't seen.
I hear good things.
Dunkirk, which is great. Gotta love Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
3 Billboards Outside Emmons, Montana. We talked about Martin McDonagh in the Banshees of Inisherin episode.
Yeah, I love that movie.
And also beat Get Out.
Hey now, look at that.
I don't think this is a better movie than Get Out.
I know
Best
this
Picture
is a better movie than Get Out.
I know Best Picture is subjective.
Yes.
But I don't think this is a better movie than Get Out.
Yeah, Get Out was like a cultural milestone.
Yeah.
You know?
So...
Yeah. So, not interesting.
What I like about this movie.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're trying to say... It's kind of weird because last week I said I recommended 3,000 Years of Longing to you because I think that's something you would like more than I did.
Yes.
You gave it a 3. I would have given it a 2.
Right.
This is a 2.
Okay.
Ish. Might be closer to a 1.
Damn.
I really did not like this movie much at all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so funny. You like 3,000 Years of Longing
I did.
in this movie.
And I liked Hellboy. And if you smash those two movies together, it's pretty much this movie. I couldn't get over that, how much it was just Hellboy.
Yeah. Where
it was just like some... Okay,
Jones.
so you know the whole story of how 50 Shades of Grey started?
Yeah, it's a fan...
It's Twilight Erotica.
Yes.
Someone wrote Twilight Erotica. They
Fan
couldn't do that.
fiction.
And then...
They changed some names around.
And then it's this.
Yeah.
This is like someone wrote Hellboy, 50 Shades of Grey.
But they fell in love with Abe Sapien.
It's even the same actor
Doug
that
Jones
plays
again.
Abe Sapien. And nothing about how the movie was made. Not saying anything bad about that. The creature effects are fantastic. Doug Jones playing a weird man in a suit. No one does it better than he does.
That's true.
And he's Guillermo del Toro's guy for that. Like he plays the eyeball hands in Pan's Labyrinth and all that stuff.
I love that movie.
And he's great. He pops up in... we were talking about Cracked a couple episodes ago. The book David Wong wrote, John Dies at the End.
Yeah.
Doug Jones is in that.
The movie?
Yeah, he's not in a suit, and he is just a tall, fun-looking
Lanky
dude. Yeah, he's great. But, yeah, just the story of it, I had
just
nothing.
couldn't get to you?
The two characters that I really liked, well, first of all, I loved the Cold War stuff.
Uh-huh. Yeah, great setting.
If it wasn't about the lady and the fish man...
If it wasn't the main story.
I get the allegory that it's telling. It's like, because she even says stuff that's very sweet. It's like, you know, she's saying, what's the actor's name that plays her neighbor? Richard Jenkins. He's great in this too.
Yes, Richard Jenkins nails it.
Yeah. He's playing a closeted gay man in the 60s who's an artist and everything like that, and he has a run-in with a guy at a diner, and the guy turns out to be a shithead.
Yes.
Shuts him off.
An awful
very heartbreaking.
B-story.
And then he has his relationship with Sally Hawkins' character. Since she's mute, she signed something to him about the fishman sees me and he's not, seeing me for what I don't have. He's seeing me for who I am. And I'm like, I get it.
Uh-huh.
That's great.
Yeah.
Still fucking a fish. Like,
yeah, but I don't care.
Yeah, but I do. I do when I'm watching it. Like, I feel like there's a better way to get that message across.
Yeah, but if I found you and you're fucking a fish, I would be like, you know what? I appreciate you. And if that fish was consenting, by the way.
Yes.
That's very important part.
She taught him the sign for yes,
yeah.
apparently.
So, yeah, if that was going on, that was a relationship, I'd be like, you do you, dog.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy for you.
It's almost a reverse Little Mermaid. She loses her voice to have sex with a fish man, as opposed to the way the Little Mermaid did it. It's still a mute woman vying for the affection, except one time it's a land man and one time it's a fish man.
Did anybody make the joke about the Little Mermaid where they're like, man, I would love having a Little Mermaid when she couldn't talk?
No,
that's
a horrible joke to make.
That's a great joke, especially for the time that it came out.
I'm sure
Rodney Dangerfield must have still been alive.
I'm sure Andrew Dice Clay had a couple zingers about it. But yeah, I loved the Cold War stuff. There's a great thing. So one of the scientists at the Fishman lab is a Russian agent, because of course he is. It's a movie set in the Cold War. Mm-hmm. Someone's a Russian agent. And he goes to his handlers, and he wants to study Fishman because he's a scientist, and he's one of those scientist guys that's like, oh, this is a breakthrough for science, and needs to be studied and human culture and all that shit like that. And the Russian guy says, well, no, you just got to kill him.
Yeah,
got to kill the Fishman. And then he says something to the effect of, it's like, he makes the plea, how much we could learn. He's like, we don't care what we learn as long as the Americans don't learn it. Mm. And I was just like, that's such good Cold War shit. Mm. And I love that part of it. And Michael Shannon, like you talked about, it's fucking banana sandwich crazy towards the end of this. And he's great. That's great. the fish thing. I just
can't get over it.
It feels like there were two movies here.
Yeah.
And then they put them together.
Okay.
And I didn't like half of it enough.
Yeah.
And it felt like that was the main plot.
Yeah,
and the
main plot
subplot I
definitely
liked a lot. I loved the Michael Shannon Cold War shit.
Yeah.
And I do like what else? Fishman Alf's one of the cats.
What do you mean?
Like Alf always wanted to eat cats.
Yeah.
He eats a cat.
Oh,
just
he
straight
Alf's
up
one of the cats.
He
Yes.
straight up just eats a cat in this.
Yeah.
That's great.
He's a fucking creature.
That was the point where I was quickly reminded that I'm watching a Guillermo del Toro movie because there's not much violence in this, but when it's there, it's fucking violent.
Like, yeah.
One guy gets shot through the cheek, and then Michael Shannon sticks his finger, literally fish hooks the guy through a bullet hole in his cheek, and there's a couple things of people getting scratched. And the fish man being like sick and like scales falling off, and that creature or body horror that Guillermo del Toro does is so great.
He's pretty vivid.
I really wanted to like this movie, but it just at the end of it, I'm just like, I don't why. And then at the end, she gets gills, and I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a fantasy. You don't have now she just gets gills. It's like, yeah, I understand it's a fantasy type movie.
Yeah,
but
it's a fairy tale.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I like 3,000 Years. If you're comparing these two, I like 3,000 Years of Longing more.
Okay, that's amazing.
Maybe because it's a little more magical instead of I don't know what else you would call it.
Yeah,
cryptozoological or whatever. And in 3,000 Years of Longing, it's like no one fucking a fish.
Yeah,
There's no one fucking a fish.
Yeah, totally.
I don't get it.
I loved it.
I
absolutely love it.
I understand that.
Yeah,
and I don't see this as the best picture though. That kind of made me upset.
Yeah, I didn't know it was up against Get Out. I remember it winning Best Picture, but I didn't know that Get Out was like
right. This is the second best picture that we've talked about on this show.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember what the first one was?
No.
Argo.
Oh right.
Goddamn right, Argo.
Benjamin.
What else do I have written down?
I don't know.
One of my favorite things ever. Russian spy guy picks up something that he had hidden under the floorboards. Love something hidden under the floorboards. Anytime I see something in a movie, I have carpeting in my room. I want hardwood because I want to hide something. I want in this podcast basement, I want to John Wick out a place where I could like reseal the concrete.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pickaxe down here.
Yeah, but it's gonna be fun.
And upstairs, you can just remove the carpeting so that you can pull it real easy.
So a major plot point in this is once she steals Fishman from the labs, they're waiting for the rains to come.
Yeah, to fill up the
the channel so they can get out to the ocean. Where are these monsoon rains in Baltimore? I've been living in Northern Virginia for over 2 decades. And they're treating it like, oh, the rains will come in September. Like there's going to be a monsoon.
You've never been to Baltimore.
I guess that's what happens in Maryland instead of Virginia is you have the monsoon.
Duh.
The most relatable part of this movie to me that I read on the IMDb trivia, which is one of my favorite things to do.
Oh, God, I hate that trivia stuff so friggin' much.
So,
that stuff is awful.
You're supposed to be able to see yourself in a character, and I saw myself trying to relate to the Fishman as best I could.
Yeah.
His breathing, when he's breathing in air, was just recorded breathing from Guillermo del Toro. And as a larger man, I was like, I get what he's going through. It's like... It's supposed to be this guy that was just tortured and taken out of his aquatic environment. And I was like, that's just Guillermo del Toro after a flight of stairs because I make the same fucking noises.
They should use Fatty McGee.
I love it. I do want to show you this picture, which I think is the best thing to come out of this.
Oh, no.
There's a story of when this won Best Picture. Actor Michael Shannon was sitting in a bar in Chicago. He didn't go to the ceremony. And this made me love Michael Shannon more.
Yeah, he's cool.
And the bartender waited until it won Best Picture.
Yeah.
And you could Google this yourself. Just Google Michael Shannon Oscars bar. And he's watching it win Best Picture. Then look at this man.
Let me see.
He could not give less of a fuck
He's got a great mustache.
that the movie he was in just won Best Picture.
He doesn't give a shit.
I love it.
He's a friggin' actor, man.
It's like, did you ever see the
That's
picture?
a good guy right there.
Did you ever see the picture of Patton Oswalt after he won his Grammy?
No.
He's sitting outside of an Arby's with a bottle of Johnny Walker
Oh, yeah.
and holding his Grammy.
He had a great one. Friggin' IFC, when they were awesome,
Yeah.
they used to have an independent film awards, and he was up for Best Actor in The Fan, if you remember that.
Where he's
movie.
like a Giants fan.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's sitting, when they announce his name and the camera goes to him, he's sitting so pensively and like worried.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't win it, and it cuts back to him, and he's swearing and throwing shit. It was so great. Oh, Patton.
Yeah.
I think he's still wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
But this movie, I think it's wonderful.
I
as
understand
well.
you do. It's a 2 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understood. I can understand.
I just can't get over the fish fucking man.
I just really wanted to try it because I was
No. You took a shot.
Yeah. We'll find a cryptid movie where a woman falls in love with a monster, and we'll see if I can get you sold on it.
How many of those do you think there are out there?
Too many.
Let's Google.
Too many.
Too many movies?
I'm counting Dracula.
What?
Dracula is a vampire that is a cryptid.
But do
Yeah.
women fall in love with a Dracula, or does the Dracula kind of make them do it?
Both.
I feel like no one's teaching the Dracula sign language.
Yeah, it's going to be both. Because, like, Twilight, there you go. Twilight's one.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, right?
And, yeah, same
Man.
people that wrote Twilight movies wrote this movie. It's literally just Hellboy. I can't get past it. It's Hellboy erotica. I don't know what I just
I like
typed.
erotica stuff.
That's fair. You
Yeah.
like it. It's
I
2.
like it.
Let's move on. So if you do like the show, be sure to follow us on Instagram. You can send your recommendations to upyouralleypod at gmail.com. You can tell a friend about the show. That's a good way to do things too. And if you're listening to this on whatever app you are, just rate it and give us 5 stars and do whatever you want. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is at Up Your Alley. So let's talk about what we're going to be talking about next week. Jake, what do you have recommended for me?
Hey, I hinted at it last week.
I already forgot.
Yeah. It
is
is going to be the new Max show, Clone High.
Clone High, yes.
I
We were
wanna
just
make you watch
talking about
Clone
this.
High.
We were just talking about how I haven't done it. So you're turning the tables on me,
Yeah.
where I'm
actually up on this show. And I'm
you're ahead
watching
of
it.
something on me.
Yeah.
All right.
And now I want you to watch it so we can talk about it.
I remember. So when we were talking about this earlier, I remember watching the first Clone High in college. One of my college roommates turned me onto it, and it was back in the heyday of the Pirate Bay and torrents and everything like that.
Right.
And I had a external hard drive with just seasons and seasons of TV shows on there, and Clone High was
yeah.
one of the ones we downloaded allegedly, and loved it.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew there was trouble with it trying to come back. I think they got sued by the family of Mahatma Gandhi
Yeah, I don't know.
because he's a character in this.
Yeah.
And you told me he's not back.
Yeah. They didn't. They decided not to move forward.
Yes. Probably for the best.
I don't
mean,
know. I loved Gandhi as character. Now he's gone because people are like, that's not what Gandhi is like. Yeah, so what?
Yes. But so this was on MTV originally, and now it's on
Yes.
Max.
Yes.
All right.
Uh-huh.
I will check that out.
Yeah.
This is kind of weird. I think this might be the first time we both have current things recommended.
Hey, now.
It's not like something that's new and then
no more
something from-
Zadowitchi for you.
Yeah, 1968, and it's in black and white. I have a television show for you that is on the streaming service Peacock. It's one step above Freevee.
Yeah?
Do you have Peacock?
No, I don't.
We have it for the show. So.
Okay.
Alleged-
Peacock, huh?
Yeah.
Huh.
Can we share passwords if we're?
I
yeah,
mean,
it's
not
a business
until they
account.
stop us. Yeah.
That's solid point. It is a show that just came out on May 4th. It has 8 episodes out, and it's on Peacock. It is starring Pete Davidson,
Oh,
and
no.
it is called Bupkis.
Oh, no.
Bupkis.
I don't care for Pete Davidson.
Haha! That's exactly why I'm doing this.
Oh, no.
Because I got to tell you something.
Yeah.
I did not care for Pete Davidson for a while.
Yeah. I think he's a fine gentleman. I don't
yes.
have anything against him as a human being. I don't think he's funny.
So this show is him playing himself, but a fictionalized version of himself in the manner of Curb Your Enthusiasm, Louie, and also Pete Holmes had a show, Crashing, that's like that.
Yeah.
Not so much a comedian playing a fictionalized version of himself
God.
like Seinfeld.
Speaking of Crashing, I for some reason went on a Artie Lang kick.
Yeah.
I was like,
he was great on that show.
No, I was like, what is he doing now? And is he okay? And yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
He
had a couple extra relapses.
He said he sent out a video recently where he's like, I kind of like the way my nose is now because it reminds me of how bad things can get for me. So I just kind of want to keep it that way.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of comedy memoirs. I've got a bunch of them over there on the bookshelf. I got one of them on the table that I'm halfway through.
Yeah,
Joey Diaz's, which is great. But Artie Lang's was Too Fat to Fish.
Yes.
I read that when it came out. That was one of my favorite memoirs ever.
Artie Lang is such an interesting fellow. He's very, very funny.
Yeah.
And he's very, like, I don't know, Boston style? I don't know. He seems kind of crash and rude, but he's such a caring...
It's definitely a Northeastern thing.
Yeah, he's such a caring and loving guy.
Yeah.
It's insane because when you talk to him or when you see him, you don't believe it.
Him and Norm Macdonald in Dirty Work is one of the funniest movies.
Yeah, he's
that
great.
gets overlooked, I think, in 90s comedies.
Yes,
but
I love
Dirty
that
Work is
movie though.
fucking
And Artie
fantastic.
Lang, he's in Beer League. He made that movie.
Beer League is a great movie,
and he sells that movie. He makes it really great. So I was just like, what is Artie up to? I watched a documentary on him, and I caught up on his Twitter.
Oh.
And I was like, he's doing
Shout
fine.
out to Artie Lang. He's doing well.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
good
happy
hear.
to see it.
But yeah, so this is a fictionalized version of Pete Davidson's life, and it's really good. I think.
All right.
I have
That's
to tell you.
interesting.
So let me try to sell you on it a little bit more, and I think other people should watch it too. So Pete Davidson's playing himself. His mom is played by Edie Falco, and she's ever since she was Carmela Soprano, she's the best at being that kind of mom.
Okay.
And his grandfather is being played by Joe Pesci.
Oh, wow.
And I will say, see, you're starting to come around.
Joe Pesci came out of retirement.
So Joe Pesci in this is fantastic. He's
great.
probably my favorite character in the show.
I want to watch it now just for Joe Pesci.
And then there are some actors that are playing themselves, like Jon Stewart's in an episode.
I had a dream just recently, like 2 days ago. And somehow when I woke up from it, I convinced myself that Lethal Weapon, the first one,
Yeah,
it was just Donald Glover and Joe Pesci. There was no Mel Gibson.
really.
Yeah. I had to convince myself
Bet a
again.
lot of people want to forget that Mel Gibson was in things.
I was like, it was just Joe Pepsi. Joe Pepsi. It was just Joe Pepsi and Donald Glover. And it was fantastic.
Yeah, but other people that come in and play themselves, like some people you would kind of expect, like I said, Jon Stewart, Machine Gun Kelly, people like that. John Mulaney's in one episode as well,
Of course.
and
They're best friends.
then there are people that come in. Barbie Cannavale's in it. Who else? I'm completely blanking. Charlie Day was in the episode that I watched earlier today. Charlie Day plays his therapist. It's fantastic. Like the people that he got involved in this show made me want to start watching it.
Yeah.
And really kind of turned me around on Pete Davidson. So I'm happy that you're going into it on not the Pete Davidson side.
I watched remember John Turturro got the blessing from the Coen brothers to make a Jesus movie.
Yeah.
And Pete Davidson's in that.
Huh.
And he's actually pretty funny and enjoyable in it.
Yeah, and he made his own movie, The King of Staten Island, and stuff like that too.
I ain't gonna watch that.
Hey, that's why I'm not recommending it to you. But this one, I would say it's 8 episodes. If you're fully against Pete Davidson, stick through 3.
Okay.
If you can make it through 3, I will think you've given it a fair shake.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So that's
I can
what
do
we're
that.
gonna watch. We're gonna watch Clone High on Max, and we're also gonna watch Bupkis on Peacock. Be sure to send your recommendations again to upyouralleypod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram @upyouralleypod. And be sure to tell your friends about the show. Thank you all very much for listening. Jake, thanks for coming over to talk, buddy. I love you.
I love you.
All right, bye.
Joe Pepsi.
Stop it.